169 words in the film. He says, yes, no, I'm chill, and boogers. Hi, I'm
Craig
from the LSTNT Podcast Network. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the Sacramento Popcorn Surprise, our cinema podcast. Tonight is the next edition of Movies from Memory, with hosts
Art
and
Dante
and
Craig.
This is our special original series on which we try our best to summarize a flick that we love but haven't seen in several years. They tend to be films from the 90s to aughts. We have been known to get a little vulgar and insensitive, but it's just our sense of humor, and it all comes from a passion and love for movies. Nay, cinema. Tonight, Hollywood's classic,
Whatever fucking genre Tim Burton's movies are.
from 1990, we present
Edward Scissorhands,
starring
Diane Wiest,
and,
others.
as always, go ahead and like, subscribe, and comment. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to check the bottoms of your popcorn buckets for holes. Someone might put their dick in there.
Hello, and welcome to a very solemn Movies from Memory.
Yeah.
I am Dante. With me, as always, is my colleague, cohort, and co-conspirator, Craig. It's a mouthful, I know.
And another co-conspirator.
Guest starring.
And colleague.
He's like a
And
rainbow.
cohort.
You're Frankenstein's monster / I would argue Edward Scissorhands.
Oh.
Artemio.
Hey, nice to meet you.
How are things? How art thou?
It's hard to it's hard to open up a soda. It's hard to eat rice, but you know. I
Oh
can
my
deal with it.
god. It's
You, of
hard just
course.
getting through the day.
It's hard to jerk it, but hey, we're here.
You, of course, are talking about Mr. Edward Scissorhands.
I'm talking about my Edward Scissorhands, but yeah, no, almost
Because that's what we're talking
So,
about here.
this movie is, first
Movies
of all-
from Memory.
This
On
movie is
first of all,
First of all, I mean, I do not remember the date, so I'm going to go out on a limb and guess 95.
I'm gonna say 94.
I'm going to say 93.
I'm gonna say
Okay.
93 until infinity. Because this movie is everlasting.
We go into war in 94?
This movie is
oh, no, that's
a
Wu-Tang.
modern day.
It is a...
It's a modern day classic, but more than that, fairy tale. I would say.
Oh, wow.
And it's a creeper movie.
It's super crap.
It's a creature
This
feature.
used to scare the hell out of me when I was a kid.
I used to
Really?
love it.
Oh, yeah.
I still love it. I think it's still a really good movie. There are movies. There
Yeah.
are parts of this movie that are really creepy.
Yeah.
But I think overall, this movie was so gorgeous. Like the way that they did it, like the way that it ends. The way that it
Yeah.
ends is somebody who doesn't want anything from anybody, but they suck his like talent, and then get rid of him when they find that something might be wrong with them.
Yeah. Wow.
And then
It's like the Tim Burton story. It's basically an autobiography about him.
So I had to take Frankenweenie out for a walk, and we had to
Oh my
pause the
god.
podcast.
Frankenweenie. This
And
is
then,
the prequel to Frankenweenie.
Yeah.
Kill.
All right, so that was a little doggy break. We had to take the dog outside to make pee on a
make
city
yellow.
street. So I wanted to talk about the cast.
Edward Scissor Paws.
I don't really remember a lot of the
Frank
cast
Yeah.
besides
Besides Frankenweenie or Gucci Gang.
Vincent Price.
Lil Pump was in the lead role. of
Lil
Edward
Uzi Vert
Scissorhands.
was there. All the Lils, Lil Kim.
So if I could say something,
No.
if I may.
No, don't let him.
So Vincent Price was like OG, like when I was like 10. One
Yeah.
of my favorite actors of all time.
what sorts of movies? Like what are the
Well,
favorite-
I knew
Just
that-
the intro to Thriller.
I mean,
That's
yeah,
all.
no.
Oh,
I
man,
bullshit you
that
not.
was so
I'll
cool.
bullshit you not because when I was a kid, I used to go like rent movies with my grandmother at like Ghostbusters, but Blockbuster.
Me and my grandma do meds.
Hey, so one of the things that she rented me was the Thriller like video.
Oh yeah.
But it came with like a 30-minute like documentary about the making of.
Really?
I do remember that. Yeah.
About like the video, and they talk about how Vincent Price is in there, and if I'm not mistaken, it's
Michael
his first,
Jackson.
like #1 hit Vincent Price.
Vincent Price's
Yeah.
first #1 hit.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson wrote Thriller is what I was going to say. No, I was just so... I was rudely interrupting you. No, I was going to say, I believe Michael Jackson, picked him out.
Yeah,
Like, that was a
because,
big influence. Like,
really?
he really dug
when he was a
his
kid,
movies.
he was like scared to death of him.
Mhm.
And, like when he met him live first, I guess.
Yeah.
I had read this article about how Michael Jackson met him when he was like under 10, and he just started crying
Really?
because he was so afraid of like
Vincent Price.
he had
To
seen Return to Fly.
terrorize y'all's neighborhood.
But I think that Vincent Price is probably one of the greatest American actors of all
On
time.
Mammies?
Like,
Oh, wow.
the way that he has this like operatic way of like
He's very theatrical.
and
And
Theatrical
expressive.
is what I
And,
meant.
he's like... I mean this like he is a character. It's like almost like Christopher Walken-esque.
Yeah.
Where whatever he does, whatever part he embodies, it's different and weird.
Yeah.
And he makes it his own. Even when he does, when he was in Batman '66 and he played fucking Egghead. Like I like that.
yeah.
It's dumb, but it's still Vincent Price.
Yeah.
And it's just different. Like
He had like
for
a
some reason,
gravitas
it's
of like making you believe whatever character he was playing.
yeah,
I remember watching The Last Man on Earth,
that
with
is
him,
a good one.
and that's like the precursor
Precursor,
to I Am
yeah.
Oh, that's
Legend.
right.
Yeah,
That's
Or
right.
Omega Man with Charleston Heston. That's a good one. It's kind of like the same thing.
Yeah.
Uh,
I have seen that last one.
What is it? The House on Haunted Hill? The original was amazing.
That one was really good too.
I don't think I've
Really
seen that.
scary too. If like
Yeah, very
if
scary.
you watch it in the perspective of, like when it was made.
Yeah.
But there's still stuff that made me jump when I first watched it.
Yeah.
And Pit and the Pendulum.
Oof.
Like, fucked up. What was
My favorite of his is The Abominable Dr. Phibes.
Oh, that's
Like
nutty.
that shit was like super creepy, and then you go to the Abominable Dr. Phibes Strikes Again or something like that,
Strikes Back?
and that one was like
Return.
that was super cinematic. Like
Dr. Phibes and the Sith versus
yeah, exactly.
attacks the
Exactly.
clones.
I did I did like a screenshot like
Ancestry.com.
graphic for you guys for when you guys I forget that band that you guys were in with Emery, but it was like Mr. Phibes loves Dr. Creature or something like that, but it was like this cutty like frame from the sequel where it's Dr. Phibes like his face is like scarred up, but it's like his eyes looking through like the sand, just like
that's
blended
cool.
into it.
Now, besides Vincent Price, Johnny Depp is like...
In his prime time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like everybody was trying to fuck with Johnny Depp at this time,
Everyone's trying to fuck him, even, too.
Yeah.
including
Fucking
his
freaking fight him.
including his
In
co-star
movies.
Winona Ryder,
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, she's in this
no,
one.
that's right. He was with her.
So
for
she's
a
the
while.
love interest, right?
and she was a ginger. Baby, I fuck with that. That's
Was she?
stifle.
Is
That's
she?
stifle.
I don't know about that.
I like
But
that.
what about the antagonist, who is the most under?
Rusty Griswold.
Oh, no, this is like that.
Weird
This is-
science.
Hey man, hey, let me tell her, hey man, she kicked me in my dick, man. In your
yeah.
dick? What the fuck am I telling this for?
A man that was able
Weird
to bring
science.
race relations back 30 years, Michael Anthony Hall.
Yeah.
I totally
Anthony
forgot.
Michael Hall.
Yeah. I totally forgot he was in this.
You
Yeah,
talking
he
about
has the
AMH?
van.
You talking
He
about
has that badass
Michael?
Great
He's
van?
driving it around, rapping it hella hard.
Hey, what the man talking about? Yeah, she... I
Oh.
could not
It's
believe
the
it.
same voice.
I watched it again like recently.
Yeah,
and
we
I was
just
like,
saw that.
Fuck, dude, like,
Weird Science. That
how
is
do you
a,
not know this is like
that is an
abrasively
amazing movie,
racist?
though.
That movie is awesome.
That's a funny scene, though.
I didn't think it was a whale's dick, sweetheart. That's
Oh,
my favorite line of the whole movie.
no. So, is there any besides those four?
Wait, so Johnny Depp, Winona Ryder,
Vincent
Vincent
Price.
Price, Anthony Michael Hall.
It's something Keaton, right? Who plays the mom, right?
Michael Keaton?
Yeah, Michael Keaton. Mr.
Diane
Mom.
Keaton?
Mr.
Oh, is
Mom
it-
plays the mom.
It is a Tim Burton movie.
No, it's Diane Keaton.
Is
from,
she?
of the fame of those Woody Allen flicks,
Yeah.
which I've never seen because I don't give a shit
And
about.
Kay. Kay, come over here,
Oh, yeah,
Kay.
The Godfather. Because
I have to take out the police chief and then move to Sicily, Kay.
Was Diane Keaton in?
She was Kay, bro.
Yeah, she was the
Kay.
Godfather.
Okay, K.
She was the Godfather.
Okay, that's
Played
right.
Vito.
That's whack as fuck. I mean,
Alright,
spilling it. One of my favorite scenes is like when, so it's so funny that like, And
Marlon
it's so
Brando.
perfect for Tim Burton at the time of this movie, where he's like, oh, like the Avon ladies. Like,
Yeah.
of course, this Avon lady wouldn't take no for an answer, and she'll go in through the creepy house to sell, like, her product.
Oh, yeah. So that's why she's
and
there.
it's just a kid in the shadows who has scars on his face.
I do remember that, and that freaked me out. Like, so many, how you mentioned before, it's a very dark movie, but it's like very sweet and soft, like the overall story.
Yeah.
And
Well,
he did like the Edward is just trying. Edward just tries to help everyone. It's like super innocent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
kind of like Dante.
Thank you.
He's very innocent.
Only instead of scissor hands, Dante has spoon hands.
Spoon hands.
I don't know why that makes a difference.
Spoon man.
I'm a big fat slob, everyone.
Soundgarden wrote that song about
He's
it.
a scat man. Oh
my god.
So
what Scatman Carruthers was in this movie.
But
too.
the idea that it's
what
like,
happened to the Scat Man?
He played Edward Scissorhands' son for the
oh my
sequel
God.
he was going to play.
We are derailed right now.
Are you gonna bring it back?
Is there any other actors?
But another thing I loved about
I
this
don't
movie
think so.
was that the whole like town was like riddled in pastel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like
the
every
it all
house,
looks like
it was
there was
like
a lot of
pristine,
colors,
like what is it, like Leave It to Beaver kind of like neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And then you go to this one house where this lady, it's like obviously like a gothic kind of style house, and she's like, you know what, I'm gonna sell this guy lipstick.
Yeah.
She's like, let me come in there.
Vincent Price.
Oh, and that's right too, because she's like not afraid. He's like she comes in there and you can hear the
There's got to be
because he's
tons of
like
those.
he's so nervous he just goes with his fingers like just as a tick.
Like as a tick.
And she's like, oh, don't come near me. And he's like, why can't?
What does he say?
I forget what it is. I just imagine him saying, what can't?
I can't.
But then she's like, when she does that makeover with them, do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
Where she's like, yeah, just throw a little bit of this.
His face is all cut up, right?
And he's also super duper pale. So they're like, oh yeah, well, just like a bass tone. Yeah, that looks nice. And there's a scene where she's
Dante
like, yeah.
always wears a bass.
She's like, yeah, that looks nice. And he like, it cuts to him looking back at her with this like super maked up face. That he's like, oh yeah, cool, whatever you want.
He's just down.
Like I'm excited that you're excited about this.
He's just a puppy dog.
And then, so it's this lady who finds out about this kid that has like knives for hands. And
Scissors, to be exact.
Scissors, and she's like, yeah,
Come on, please.
you can come back with me for my house. You know, you can hang out in my crib.
Sounds
That'd
smart.
be chill.
Yeah.
That'd be chill.
Crash
You're a
in my
stranger,
crib with
just
your
hanging out in
scissors.
an attic.
She's like,
And he just goes.
That's
He
what
goes.
said
He
yes
goes.
and no.
Yeah.
So how does he take a piss or shit? Have we talked about that?
He chopped the head of his dick off. Like,
well, he's had a
times.
really bad
It keeps
rash
getting
for
shorter.
a long time.
Bad.
Really
How do you
bad
shit
rash.
in that bad and like with that much of a gimp suit? That's like
He is wearing kind of a gimp
with
suit.
that many buckles. How do you shit?
Eddie Scissors.
That's how you shit.
That's how he shit.
Maybe he's just upset because he hasn't taken a piss or shit.
Well, he's got
It's
hand
cool though because his
you-
parents, when they gave birth to him, they saved money on like a moil because he just gave himself
I was
a
gonna
circumcision.
say he's got the hand cutters, but also the turd cutters. So that he doesn't.
He cuts the turd. He just slices the turd. That's true. It's actually cleaner in my system.
Every time he shits, he gets shit.
Clean him off.
Oh my god.
So we're gonna talk more about how Edward Scissorhands shits,
Yeah,
and then we might get to the plot at some
This is
point.
very scat.
But I want to keep getting into this shit. So, would he use toilet paper
So
ever,
does he-
or just the scissors?
But now this shit, does he eat corn when he shits?
Yeah, 'cause
you
corn
can
could
see
get
more of a
caught in the
trail
scissor.
later on.
Well, how does it?
How does someone not eat
either
corn?
or not? It's still. So you can still do it.
Okay,
true.
so
This is the lowest point we've ever had in a
No,
podcast.
we're getting much lower. This is
well,
going
this
to be
is
like
not-
a mountain compared to where we can go.
So the mom brings
God.
Edward back to.
So does she get
her
him a name or
house.
what? What's up with the
Well, no,
name?
he said she asked like what's your name, and he goes Edwin, and I only have.
Is she an actress that's
She goes-
been in anything?
Diane Keaton?
Diane Keaton.
Oh,
says-
that's Diane Keaton.
She goes, how do I know you? And
Tay.
he goes, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang.
Oh,
Gucci gang.
no.
Yeah, that's the lowest point.
Alright, so
What's your name? Edward, and I really like
Gucci
Gucci Gang by Little Keith.
I love trap music.
Yeah.
So they go through this thing where, like, she's like, "Oh,
Where
you poor boy,
she's
you're
showing
alone.
him trap music for the
You're
first
alone.
time.
I'll bring you to my house. I'll take care of you."
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, "My daughter's like gone camping. You can stay in her room for the night." And then
that's
her
kind of a...
daughter comes home.
Sure, her daughter appreciated that.
Yeah.
So do you think Diana Keaton for a second was just thinking like, maybe I can fuck this guy?
Well, she
The
was
scissor
thinking.
guy?
She was thinking he could be the guy from Seven
The scissor guy might
that
be
just
good
like
at fucking.
has that donger that I can just rock all night.
Oh my
He put
god,
this
he
thing-
fingers her
He
like
put
that
this
guy.
thing on me.
Oh, that's
And
good.
he made me fuck her.
Can we, real quick?
And then she does a callback to Aliens Resurrection. She goes, "What the hell's inside of me?"
Oh
Can
my
I just
god.
say, I don't
And
know.
then the white blood.
I don't know
everywhere.
who that actor is.
We are not.
No. I don't know who that actor is.
Yeah.
But he's just a creep in movies. The only
Who?
time I see him, the actor that
What do you mean?
that Artemio referenced the
Well, what do you mean? Don't put that all
where
on
he
me.
has
Oh,
like
yeah,
the,
yeah,
the
yeah.
knife dildo
The
thing.
knife dildo thing, yeah.
And there he's either he has a knife dildo
Say
in
his
the
name,
movie,
Dante.
or
Say his name. Say his
No idea
name.
what
or he is like an
He
alien,
has no idea.
or he's
Say
an
his
alien
name.
chest
No,
burster.
Dante,
host,
say
Yeah.
his name
which
out
is
loud.
very weird. What's his name?
Give him life.
Yahweh.
What's his name?
I wish we knew his name.
Honestly, we shouldn't
Oh,
say this
man,
out loud.
He's not even in Edward Scissorhands, is he, that guy?
No.
That was a joke that he was making. This was that was a big swing. All right, so who's the first one that sees him? Or no, how does
It's
she get his
Diane
name?
Keaton takes him back to the house, and she's like, "Hey, like
Oh,
you."
you fucking.
No, she's like, you poor kid who has these knives for fingers." Like,
He's never gotten to fuck somebody.
Oh,
wow.
Okay, so she brings
Gucci
him
gang,
home.
Gucci gang.
So she said, "Edward, where do you find?" He goes, "Money, cash, husband."
Oh,
cash."
Oh no.
He's a pimp, and
True player pimp for real?
that's live as fuck.
Woo!
I'll put that on Mamie's and on Sita's.
Okay, so what the fuck happens in this movie?
I keep
Is
trying
she
to.
gonna fuck this guy or what?
Why am I the
She
person
fucks
that's
him,
like?
right?
All right, so
Why don't I ask you guys what happens in this?
because I don't know. I don't remember this.
She
You remember
takes
this
him
leg of the
home.
film, and I'm gonna eat the next. Don't worry.
So she brings Edward home to try to like look after him.
Mm.
She's like, "Yeah, my daughter's out of town right now. You can sleep in her bed."
Yes.
So he's like, "Oh yeah, I have sister for hands, and she sleeps on a water bed." So there's like
oh, that's right. That's
hilarity
the gag.
ensues.
Yeah.
and then he like
It's like
puts
a Farrelly Brothers
he puts like
joke
a
in
he
there.
puts like a stuffed animal over it, and then
Over the,
lo and
like, hole
behold,
that he
lo and
pokes.
behold, that Thrasher van pulls up, and then
Thrasher. There's a Hessian inside.
they are kind of
Anthony
Hessian.
Michael Hall.
But my OG Triple OG boo thing, Winona Ryder hops out with red hair,
I was
tossing her hair.
I wanted to know where you were going with that. Oh yeah.
And then she comes. She comes home early.
Yeah.
So
Were they like listening to some
it's,
fucking like Molly Hatchet or something?
they're listening to fucking what is it, Johnny Thunders?
Oh my god.
I'm living off of Chinese rock.
You can't put your arm around the memory, people.
Oh my god, that's a sad song though.
What is going on?
So they so she comes back to her room, like obviously not expecting somebody, especially
Have
somebody,
a freak in the room.
especially someone with
Mutant.
scissor fingers
An X-Man.
to be.
Did Anthony Michael Hall go
How
back
would
with
you
her
have?
No, he's just busy like just beating up like nerds
in,
at that
in his
point.
van?
But yeah, so she comes in her room and she's like okay, like I'm sitting down, and it cuts to like her looking at herself in the mirror. She's like, okay, yeah, I'm hot as fuck.
And does he just like
No big deal.
rise
No,
up
but no,
behind
it-
her in the
in the
mirror?
darkness.
It shows him
While
with, like-
she's looking in the mirror, and behind her, she just
Well, it shows him with like Velociraptor hands, where he's just like, ooh, I'm super scared, but he's still got like these knives for fingers.
yeah.
And she's like, imagine yourself coming home.
If you will.
From
Closing
let's,
my eyes.
let's say Dillon's Beach.
It's a little thought
we come home
experiment.
from Dillon's Beach. Craigie walks himself to his waterbed.
Yeah. Correct.
He
Normal
combs,
night.
he combs his hair with his
My pomade that I have.
Your nighttime hair, your Rogaine that you put
All
on.
my
your
hair products,
Yeah.
nighttime hair products, and my skin products.
Yeah.
And I do 1,000
He
push-ups.
looks
and
himself in the
1,000
mirror and
sit-ups.
says, "You know what? Everybody likes you."
So you're saying if you imagine that if you go to your bedroom and there's some freak standing there in the dark with like
With scissor
for
fingers.
hands.
That's terrifying.
So
And
how
that's
do they-
like,
Everybody likes you. That's what I do. So, oh my
I
god.
like that. Like it's a couple seconds so you picked up on. But yeah,
Jeez.
everybody likes Craig.
I don't know how you guys have seen my nightly routine.
Yeah, it's funny. I've actually set up multiple cameras in your house.
Really?
Screaming
That's what those
to
are.
North Korea.
That's
You're
what those
huge
teddy
there.
bears were there for.
That's what those things are that I
So,
put my
Alright,
butthole
so
in.
how do they become
So
friends?
when
How does-
Leonora shows up, and then she doesn't recognize, she doesn't. I mean,
She
for a
doesn't
good
recognize
reason.
him because she's never seen him before.
This kid
That can
knives
happen.
her fingers.
It's been known to happen.
So she freaks out for no good reason.
Yeah, what a stuck-up prude.
Yeah.
What a stuck-up Hessian. But yeah, so she freaks out, and then Edward like starts darting his hands in the to the
Oh, in the waterbed?
And it gets worse.
Yeah, so it'll like the family knows that he's there, but she doesn't. So she's like, "What the fuck? Like, why would you let this weirdo in my bed?"
Yeah.
Like, regardless,
Which
it's
is
one thing to say
rude
like,
of her.
It's one thing to say
Very
like
rude.
it's a weird.
He's
kid.
a house guest.
It's one thing to say it's a weird kid or it's like a homeless kid, but
Yeah.
this kid has knives for
It's a
fingers,
mutant. Yeah.
and you thought it'd be cool to put him in my bed
Yeah.
for no reason.
Well, to
he,
be
like,
fair, she
can't
was on
talk.
a camping trip.
And he has
And
like
to be
gray
fair-
skin and like black eyes.
And to be fair, and
He's
like
in a gimp suit.
he
And he's in
can't
a
take
gimp
off those
suit.
belts, like
Yeah.
like you never
He's
take.
like the most badass
Um,
Spencer's Gifts,
but-
Hot Topic.
to
this
be
is the
setup
hot
that he
topic
has.
guy.
to be fair,
Bondage pants.
to be fair, Diane Keaton
Evanescence.
was trying to sell Avon products, so.
And
Diane Keaton was?
So
Yeah.
she kind of pimps him out to the neighborhood, right? So he
Well,
doesn't
what did that
leave.
have
No,
to
no,
do
no,
with
no, no.
it?
So they don't know it right away. So they throw a barbecue. He's there, she's there. Everybody thinks he's a freak, and he's like, "Okay, I'll cut a tree."
I'll cut it. Oh yeah, he fucking hedges the.
Well, because that's what
He
he
just
did.
has
That's what
the
Edward.
hedge.
That's what he did while he was alone.
Edward.
That's what he did while he was alone in the mansion. That's why everything was so like pristinely cut.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, yeah, I'm like, whatever. This stupid ass bush looks super lame. I'll cut it up real quick, make it look real cool.
Hello, Bush.
Start
You
knocking
shouldn't even
it.
go outside like that.
Start
You
Oh
look
knocking
like
my
shit.
God.
real quick.
I mean, I got these fucking scissors. I can't jerk it. May as well chop this bush. I chopped my own bush. May as well chop
Oh
that
my
bush
God.
too.
Oh my god.
Okay, so
So he
they're-
trims his
they're
bush.
like-
He goes to the barbecue.
So it goes.
remember they
It goes from bush to dog to the redheaded lady.
bush to dong. To the
It's
redheaded
like a
lady.
porn movie. Is this
No,
your
but
Pornhub search?
Remember, like he trims
More
like
bush, more dong.
There's no way. There's no unfunny way to say that he trims bush, but then he cuts dog's hair after that.
She had a real big muff.
And then the
Bush? What are we talking about?
Remember that-
George Bush? I'm
Remember
tired
there was,
of
that,
him.
there was that redheaded lady that was like super down
Woo!
for Edward.
Yes, I do remember
And
that.
she was like, "Oh my god, cut my hair."
Oh, she gets off.
Oh,
She was,
God,
she was from the
Edward.
Delacroix family.
Yeah. Oh, I
Oh,
do
man.
declare, Edward.
You better cut
my hair.
Edward,
You think?
I would like you
Was
to
it
cut
like
my
some
hair.
kind of shampoo, Warren Beatty?
It was some kind of shame thing. That
No,
she-
My hair.
jeez. I've never been with a mutant before.
Would you shame me while you cut my
It kind
hair?
of reminds me of like
cut
Don't-
my hair, you scissor
boy.
freak.
Don't Mess With His Go
freak.
On, where he starts to cut all the women around the neighborhood's hair, and some of them want to sleep with him, right?
Oh,
No, like all the ladies were like, yeah, I cut my hair after that, and then so he became like a commodity because he had a talent for shaping things, whether it be
Yeah.
hair or
ideas.
or bush or
No.
or whatever, and
Countries, what have you.
and,
God.
like essentially Anthony Michael Hall was like the only person that didn't like him,
So
Yeah.
he was just like,
and he was just being a doucher.
Yeah.
he was just rolling around listening to Judas Priest in his super cool van.
He's
the
got to be
Hesher
one of
van.
the only guys to have very famously played a nerd that gets bullied, and then years later play a bully.
Yeah, no, for
It's
sure.
super
And it was I read somewhere that it was him trying to get out of that I'm a nerd kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I don't think his career ever recovered.
It
from
took
that.
off after that. That's a tough guy.
After that, he did that.
all the way to the employee line.
Oh wow! All the way to the local car wash.
Yeah.
Just play a good role, Anthony Michael Hall.
Oh wow!
Well, it's just hard because it's.
Rusty
I mean,
Griswold?
really, he's.
Honestly, he
How
was
big
lucky
a
he
Memphis
got
is
Dark
he
Knight.
Oh wow! Oh, he is in Dark Knight.
He did play that. He did play that USA role. It was a Stephen King book, but he did a TV version of
Didn't they
it.
try to remake
there?
The Shining?
No. So it was a Christopher Walken movie. It was
Dead Zone.
Dead Zone. Yeah. So they did Dead Zone on USA with him in it for a while.
Oh,
But it was
that was Stephen King.
super.
He's also
not
in
good.
Psych too.
No, but I fuck with Anthony Michael Hall. No, I hate him.
Anything.
But
Okay,
not-
so
yeah.
Anthony Michael Hall's
It's a hot
like,
take.
fuck this. I'm not gonna.
just
They're not putting me. They're not putting me in movies anymore. I'm gonna beat up this freak.
So I'm just gonna beat up.
It wasn't about the movie. It was just living that out.
Oh, okay.
Personally.
Yeah.
Stop.
That's why he took the role.
So
Oh, jeez.
this guy talks.
I
Edward
finally get to put my
Scissorhands
mitts
into-
on someone.
He talks him into breaking into his own dad's house because he's like, my dad won't give me money. Like, you need to help me out if you're my friend.
And just like,
And Edward's like, yeah, I'm your friend.
Edward.
Yeah,
But he's really
and it's so weird
kidding.
because they keep cutting back to that, like to that factory that he was made in because he was made, he wasn't
Yeah.
born, and it's like a cookie cutting factory.
So he's a
And
he's a robot, right?
You see parts like where it's like hands like he has that like dice the dough up, and there's other parts that like have parts that he has, and then
His legs,
you
his
see
arms, his dick, his
the
head.
greatest actor of all time,
His
Vincent
taint.
Price.
Yeah, definitely.
He gets like his cookie cutting factory prints, and it's so weird. that-
Vincent Price is the creator. That's what you find out.
No, but it's so weird if you think about like his like whole outfit was so like gothic.
Hot.
But it was about him like creating cookies and things that like people would love. Like it's like heartwarming shit.
Yeah,
but
I
when
like
when
that.
you go to like his mansion,
Yeah.
it's like desolate and gothic.
Mm.
So it's like this lonely man that would make these cookies for people to eat that they
Yeah.
but
and-
for a
and-
bunch of people, but he himself is like alone.
yeah. So
Yeah.
Except
so-
Edward.
So there was like
And he
belts,
lives right
there's,
near
there's
that,
belts
like,
around
happy
like some of the
town.
factory things, and then he
Oh, okay.
he like grabs one of the heart cookies from the things that he manufactured and held it up to like one of the machines and was like, "Oh, I can create life, or I can create a companion or a son." You know?
Yeah.
And then it cuts back and forth, and there's a scene where
It's pretty. That's some like heartwarming shit.
no,
I'm remembering it.
and
now.
it's very like fairy tale-ish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know, it's
very
about
Tim Burton.
yeah, no, for sure.
He's like the perfect guy to do this.
Like
Probably the only
Plus,
person.
I really like how
I ride for this
like
movie.
that's
I
Nettie
said
that
I hope-
she
I
went
ride for
on
this movie.
to be in such a great band, the lead singer of a great band like Evanescence, and her first role was Edward Scissorhands,
This guy's just gonna
the
stomp
star
on
of
your
Edward
dream.
Scissorhands.
Come on,
I
Craig,
thought that
you
was
can
It's
do
cool.
like,
better.
oh,
You
that's
do
your
better.
brand new puppy. I'm
can
gonna stomp on
How
its head.
can you see
She's
into my
honestly
eyes?
more of a Paramore. Ain't it fun?
Oh my god!
I think this podcast was fun a second ago, but
And now, yeah.
I mean, if we're gonna bring it, we
Welcome
can bring
back
it.
to the Paramore
we
podcast.
can, hey, if you want to bring it, this is gonna be the Bring It podcast.
fucking
in a
ride for this.
second.
Welcome back to more Paramore. The Paramore
Welcome to
podcast.
Paramore podcast.
Paramore of what you love.
Okay,
So Paramore,
So
they
we
started
ride
in like
or die.
2004.
but no, that flashback, where finally he makes Edward the last pieces. He makes
But no,
Edward.
where he's like he has like his legs laid out and his arms laid out, or not laid out, but laid out.
His arms like that.
Like he's like dismembered.
legs armed out.
He's dismembered, and Vincent Price is reading him like a children's tale.
Uh-huh.
And like he has his hair combed nice, and he
Yeah.
doesn't have scars on his face.
Yeah, no scars yet.
And
Oh, that's cool.
he like, but you can see his fingers move because he's excited. Like even though he has, even though they're detached from him, they're part of him. And
They're the scissor ones?
yeah,
Yeah.
And one of the last moments that happens, which I thought was like super moving to me, was that like he was like, "Oh, it's your birthday. I have this gift for you. I have these pretty hands." Like after he opens up the box,
Yeah.
and he shows them to Edward, and he like puts them on his face, and Edward's like, "Oh, these are gonna be
Like
mine."
human hands.
Like I'm so excited about it, and then the creator has a heart attack, and it's like stark.
Oh.
It's super stark. Like he's playing with him, and then his face goes from happy to like distraught really quick.
Yeah.
And it's Vincent Price, so you know, like
Yeah.
his face can move that way.
It's very emotive.
Yeah.
And he just goes dead, and he's playing with Edward with these hands, and then Edward's hands cut and destroy the hands that he could have had.
That's some
that's
sad
cool.
shit.
Yeah. Some tragic
Yeah.
shit.
And then, so snap back to reality. Whoop, there goes gravity. Oh, the humanity. Michael Anthony Hall is trying to fuck over Edward Scissorhands.
Oh
And
my god.
doesn't it the whole like town thinks that Edward
I thought you were gonna rhyme that.
no.
again.
No, they're all tricked into thinking that Edward was like robbing the place or something.
Yeah, who'd they try and Have him rob?
Anthony Michael Hall tried to have him rob his own dad's house.
So he sets up Edward
Yeah.
for some kind of sting operation.
Well, it was
Just to make
like
him,
he
like,
wasn't
look-
trying to set him up, but he knew that he could pick locks with his little fingers, and it just went bad.
Oh, okay.
And he leaves
And
him?
everybody left him.
Oh, that's right.
So they were like, "Oh, okay, so Edward's like a jerk." But it's so weird how
He's a cat burglar.
It's so weird how everybody's just like, "Oh yeah, of course he is. He's a jerk."
Oh, because he's like he's the freak anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're just like
So
trying
everybody
to-
wanted the talent, but then when they thought that it might be something strange, they were like, "Oh yeah, of course it is because he's strange."
Yeah.
Which is like that's
quick to believe it and
one
just-
of Tim Burton's like best
Yeah.
avenues to do. But
They're so prejudiced.
so there's
So what the hell happens, man? They're
So-
bumming me
Come
out.
on.
So
man.
towards the end, Edward goes on the run.
This may be Tim Burton's finest movie.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I love Beetlejuice, but
Yeah.
I love Big Fish also. But this one's
That's
the
true.
most like fairy tale
Yeah.
that he's done. And
What about the Peculiar Children or whatever that
what
new
about
movie
Frankie
you made?
No, I'm just kidding. Edward goes on the run, and then so everybody's looking for him, and his surrogate dad, I forget his name, like Diane Keaton's husband, is like tacking up like the fake snow and shit like that, because the whole town does not receive snow.
Oh, okay.
But he does this thing. Oh fuck! It's before he gets accused, where he's cutting ice as a sculpture, and he's making it snow for Winona Ryder,
Oh, that's right.
and she's dancing in that like snow that he's like creating from sculpting
Is there
the
some
ice.
kind of shenanigans going on between them?
That's right, because the whole reason the movie starts is it's
No, I mean, he like fingered
It's-
her once.
it's
but it was nothing like
somebody get this out of me.
serious.
But the movie starts with the snowfall, and it's two kids approaching their grandma saying, "Why does it snow here?" And she was like, "That's a tale. Like I'll tell you right now, I guess, or fucking whatever."
It's a tale I'll have to tell you right now. The next 2 hours.
So he's like
Take it away,
cutting
Tim
the
Burton.
ice and shit like that, and then something happens, and he swipes his hand and cuts Winona on her
the throat.
forehand.
Oh, jeez. You got a gusher.
He slits her slit, and then
Oh my god.
it was Shark Week, so it was Joe. That's honestly, that's not something I want to say.
And end the edit here.
I just love the juxtaposition of like 5 minutes ago on the podcast. It might have been like the sweetest,
Yeah.
most like.
Yeah, no, we have a heartfelt discussion.
I know,
And
no,
then you're
I love
yeah,
it.
this-
We
I
got a
tried
little bit
to
of
bring
everything.
out the heart in what you were talking
But
about.
so then,
What you were talking about was like lame, and I just want to make it really happy.
and I'm so
heartfelt.
glad that you did, because we were getting too sentimental. But I liked. So then, so the chase is on for Edward. Like he leaves, and Winona's trying to tell everybody, like, no, he's safe. And there's that weird religious lady that's like, no, he's a sinner, like for no reason. You remember that lady?
No,
She
no.
plays the
Sinner.
organ all the time. Dang.
Oh yeah.
It's
I don't know why.
Gregorian
Dang,
chants.
it's
Yeah.
Wah, 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 wah,
She
wah.
played air horn.
yeah. And
She was
she's
playing
like,
Lowrider. Do, 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 do.
I've only got two tones and it's Fast and Furious. And then she was like, the sinner needs to lay down.
Oh my god! So they're chasing Edward, and
Yeah,
they're like, "Hey,
back to his spot, but only the
Back to
boyfriend and the one.
reality. There goes gravity.
oh, the humanity!
Oh, you could tell that to
What
Michael Anthony Hall,
bisexuality? It's like some weird male fantasy.
Like Michael Hall Anthony.
because he
Nah, that's a
honestly
stretch.
gets some gravity after he gets stabbed in the stomach. But that's neither here nor there. So
Does he get stabbed in the stomach?
Winona stabs him
She does?
oh yeah, they're up in the attic, right?
because he's like killing Edward.
They,
and,
they finally find Edward.
like,
he
there's,
just went
like-
back to the place,
He went back to his little
his home, really.
attic. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What do you think you're like? I don't know. Whatever you think you're getting away with this."
He's
And,
just like shit talking Edward.
Yeah, and he's
just,
like-
you just hear the scissors. What the fuck, man?
but he's like
You
beating
think
him
you're
up.
better than me?
He's like beating him with like a 2x4 and shit like that. And then
Jeez.
Holy shit.
Winona's like,
Not
"No."
so much here or here.
And the
right
weirdest
here.
like it's weird that she grabs like a glove that looks exactly like Edward's hand and stabs Anthony Michael Hall to his death, and he falls over the edge after that. And then she's like, "Oh yeah, they killed each other." this is his glove, or this is his hand, and everybody's like, okay, that's good enough. Yeah, we'll just leave.
Really? So there's no like retribution or anything?
There's definitely no detective work.
So Batman did not exist.
They need Batman.
Edward Scissorhands.
Wait, so what happened to Edward?
Edward just stayed in the cave, and that's the reason that the town
the
gets
attic?
snow. Because every fall or every December,
Winter,
he just cuts ice in the shape, and then it cuts back to a scene of him cutting Winona Ryder like dancing in the snow, and it's like him
With
like,
the snow, yeah.
yeah, him cutting this ice block, the lady that he loved.
Of her, making like a sculpture of her.
Of her dancing in the snow, making it snow for the rest of the
That's
town.
nutty, yeah.
Which is like, if I've ever heard like a fairy tale or whatever, like that's kind of like.
I wonder if like that's where it started for him, was like him thinking about a fairy tale based around like why it snows in the town, you know?
Yeah.
I like that he does like fairy tale.
Well, yeah, because you
That's
think about
surreal.
that and like Nightmare Before Christmas and stuff like that, and then you think about like even Beetlejuice is kind of like that.
Yeah.
All right, now let's see what we got right. Let's start with the year. Now, do you guys remember what your guesses were? Mine was 1995.
I think I said 94.
Craig?
I think I said 93.
99.
Was
no,
it really?
no, that's false.
Wow.
How is it false?
There's no way that that's right.
There's no way that it came out in
There's
1990.
100% no way that it came out in 99.
No.
99? Oh, did I say 99?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I meant 1990.
Oh, 90? Yeah.
I'm playing with these cats over here.
He got
All
us.
cats
Oh
and
my
kittens.
I was like,
Sorry,
these
guys,
Sleepy Hollow
you
came out
guys
like
gotta keep up.
97.
Yeah, I was like, no,
You gotta keep up.
90.
No, I messed that one up. All right, here's the
so many
cast.
slaps.
We're gonna do a little bit of the cast.
So yeah, 1990, directed by Michael Bay.
Directed by Michael Bay.
But my favorite director in the whole world, explosions, no plot, Michael Bay looking at
Written by
So we have-
Roland Emmerich.
or tropes, I should say.
We have Johnny Depp, Edward Scissorhands, Winona Ryder, and you know what the big thing?
Edward Scissorhands was one of the actors. in
Yeah,
it.
yeah. One of the big,
Edmund Scissorhands who played Edward.
Played Edward Scissorhands.
what I think is kind of funny is, so the whole time we just said Diane Keaton, correct?
Yeah.
Diane Lane.
Diane.
No, not Diane.
It was
Lane,
Diane
just the
Wiest.
Really?
You guys familiar with Diane Wiest?
Look at this.
That sounds so familiar. Yeah.
No. Diane Weiss, what's she been in?
Hannah and her sisters, Bullets Over Broadway. She was the mom in The Lost Boys. She was also in Parenthood and Footloose.
Yeah, I thought she was Diane. Oh,
Oh, Footloose.
probably does not look at all like Diane Keaton if I like
No,
look back.
that's
No.
her. Okay, Anthony Michael Hall we talked about.
So it wasn't
as,
Kay?
As Jim. No, it wasn't Kay.
Famously known from the reporter from Dark Knight. Yeah.
Vincent Price is the inventor. Kathy Baker. Alan Arkin as Bill.
Oh, that's right. Alan Arkin's in it.
Is that
And
the dad?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Right?
Nick Carter is one of the neighbors.
Really?
Yeah,
Psych your mind, no way.
yeah. Oh, yes, indeed.
Slick Dick Carter?
A little overview of the film. A scientist builds an animated human being, the gentle Edward. The scientist dies before he can finish assembling Edward, though leaving the young man with a freakish appearance accentuated by scissor blades he has instead of hands.
Yeah.
Loving suburban saleswoman Peg discovers Edward and takes him home, where he falls for Peg's teen daughter. However, despite his kindness and artistic talent, Edward's hands make him an outcast.
Do you think that his dick made him an incast?
Wow, that's
An incast? What is an
brilliant. That is a brilliant
observation?
dissection of the movie.
It's like this lonely inventor made like this little boy to hang out with.
Oh, no.
But he wasn't a little
I don't think
boy.
Kevin Spacey's in this movie, is he?
K-Pax.
He's the
All
original
right.
inventor. But
On that note.
Now, how about some...
He got in too deep.
Oh, no.
Now, on that note, how about some trivia, ladies and gentlemen? Edward says only 169 words in the film.
He says like yes, no, I'm chill, and boogers.
I'm chill.
Boogers.
The role of
I'm
the...
chill. He says, what is it? Gucci Gang.
Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang.
The role of the inventor was written specifically for Vincent Price.
I believe that to be fact because
Yeah.
Tim Burton has like a full-on hard doggy for
the old monster horror movies and stuff.
Frankenweenie's here with the podcast. So
Yeah, that's what you're hearing in the background.
Yeah, he's just a little ducky.
The idea for the movie was inspired by a drawing Tim Burton had done when he was a teenager. Winona Ryder dropped out of The Godfather Part 3 to appear in this film.
Oh, that's
Really?
nuts.
And reportedly, it was also Johnny Depp who actually convinced her to do so.
Because he was busy bone zoning.
Exactly.
But honestly,
Kept her in the bone.
I would say that that's better for her being in Edward Scissorhands than it was to be in Godfather Part 3. I feel like more people would recognize Part 3 than or Edward Scissorhands.
Edward Scissorhands definitely a better movie.
Okay, sweet. So let's just end it there.
Frankenweenie says that I need to take him out for another walk.
Yeah, so thanks for listening to
Take
Movies
care
from
of your
Memory.
dogs
Yeah,
and-
take care of your dogs,
And go
and
see Edward,
thanks for listening.
Edward Scissorhands.
Careful when you're out on the streets walking your doggy.
Is that a Heat reference?
You could die out walking your doggy.
Walking your doggy. Donnie, I don't think you should have those scissors for eggs.
Batman's my favorite troll.
He's just like licking the bowl in the ground next to it. And somehow it's still that loud. There wasn't even like water there.
On mammies? Yeah, we're rolling. I see you rolling, you hating.
Gonna catch
All
me
of this is
riding
gonna be kept
dirty.
in.
Me
Yeah.
and Batman riding dirty.
Alright, take your
Keep it
shot,
on
get
this.
over here.
Nope, because he's circling around for your dunger.
Oh my god.
If you heard a whining dog in the background, we assure you no animals were harmed in the making of this podcast. And we want to let you know the dog has personally apologized to all of our listeners for the noise he made and the distraction he created at the end of this podcast. Thank you.